The wind blew dry and restless across the dusty town of Red Hollow, carrying with it the clatter of wagons, the murmur of cattlemen, and the whispered gossip of townsfolk who pretended they weren't looking at her. Clara Monroe stood outside the sheriff's office, fingers trembling as she clutched the frayed shawl around her shoulders. The morning sun was harsh, piercing, revealing too much. Her boots were worn thin, her dress patched too many times, but none of that mattered. All she wanted was her child back. Her newborn son Eli, taken as collateral for a debt she never even made. "Please," Clara whispered to Sheriff Daniels for the 5th time. "You know Silas Crow has no right to my baby. My husband owed him money, not me. And Mark's gone now. Crow can't just—" The sheriff looked at her with weary, helpless eyes. "Clara, you know how this town works. Crow owns half of Red Hollow. He claims Mark borrowed money. Says Eli belongs to him until the debt's worked off. I can't go against him unless I want a war." "Then there will be a war," Clara said, voice shaking but firm. But she could barely hold herself upright, much less fight a man like Silas Crow, the wealthiest rancher in the county, heart harder than sun-baked rock. She walked out of the sheriff's office and into the main street, vision blurring. She had no idea what to do. No family. No money. No allies. Just an empty cradle and a broken heart. She didn't notice the rider until townsfolk started murmuring. A horse, coal-black, muscled, powerful, galloped into Red Hollow as if the devil himself chased it. The man atop it looked carved from the mountain stone he came from. Wild dark hair fell to his shoulders, a full beard hid half his face, and his clothes were rough hides, stitched by hand. A rifle hung across his back, a hunting knife at his belt. But it was his eyes, storm gray and fierce, that made the street fall silent. "Who's that?" someone whispered from the saloon porch. "Jonah Hale," another answered. "Mountain man from the high ranges. Hunts alone, lives alone. Dangerous as a starving wolf." Clara had heard the name before, folklore spoken around campfires. A man who didn't belong to civilization. A man who'd once saved Mark's life during a trapping trip years ago. And a man Mark had said would come if Clara ever needed help. But she had never believed it. The wild mountain man dismounted without a sound. For a moment he simply stared at Clara, studying her. Not in the way town men stared, judging, prying, hungry, but as though searching her face for a truth he already knew. "You're Clara Monroe," Jonah Hale said, voice low like distant thunder. "Mark's wife." "Widow," she whispered. He nodded once. "I got Mark's letter. Said if anything happened to him, I was to help you." She swallowed, hope and fear tightening her throat. "My baby. They took him." Jonah's jaw clenched. His entire stance shifted, growing colder, harder. "Who?" "Silas Crow." Jonah didn't ask for the details. Didn't ask why or how. He simply said, "Where is he?" "Crow Ranch," Clara whispered. 2 miles north." Jonah turned, swung onto his horse, and nudged the animal forward. Clara grabbed the horse's bridle. "Wait, you don't understand. Crow has 30 men. Guns. Money. Power. He'll kill you." Jonah looked down at her. "He took something that's yours. So it's mine to retrieve." "But, you coming or not?" Her breath caught. "I can't fight them." "I didn't ask you to fight," he said. "Just to claim what's yours." She hesitated only a moment before nodding. He hauled her up behind him with a single strong arm, and they rode off toward Crow Ranch, dust rising in their wake. Crow Ranch was a sprawling spread of cattle fields, bunkhouses, and a mansion-sized home that stood like an iron fist over the land. Men lounged by the fences, rifles in hand, eyes sharp. Jonah slowed his horse but didn't stop. "Stay behind me." Clara clutched his coat, heart pounding so hard she could barely breathe. 2 ranch hands blocked their path. "State your business." Jonah didn't answer. He simply stared at them until both men shifted uncomfortably. "We ain't letting you through," one muttered. Jonah dismounted in one fluid movement. No anger. No threats. Just stillness too sharp to look at. "Get Silas," he ordered. Something in his voice, low, cold, promising violence, made the men obey. Moments later, Silas Crow stepped out of the house. Tall, clean-shaven, wearing a fine vest and smug confidence. A man who believed he owned everything the sun touched. "Well, well," Crow said with a taunting smile. "Clara Monroe. And Jonah Hale, the wild mountain boy. Quite the pair. What brings you to my doorstep?" "You have her child," Jonah said calmly. "Bring him out." Crow laughed. "Clara's husband owed me. The debt falls to his kin. The boy's part of the repayment." "He's not yours," Clara cried. "Please, just give him back." "Can't do that," Crow replied. "Baby's worth a small fortune. And besides, his mama is worth even more." Jonah took one step forward. Crow's men cocked their rifles. Crow raised a hand. "Easy, boys. Let's see what the wild man wants." Jonah's voice stayed level. "I'll offer once. Bring the child out safely and we walk away. And if I don't? Then I take him." Crow smirked. "By yourself? Against 30 men? You mountain folk are dumb as dirt." Jonah didn't blink. "High noon. Town square. You bring the child. I'll bring justice." Crow's smile twisted. "You're challenging me?" "No. I'm warning you." The rancher barked a laugh. "Fine. High noon. But when I'm through with you, the widow comes home with me." Clara felt sick. "Jonah, please." But Jonah swung back onto his horse and rode away without another word. Back in town, the whispers spread like wildfire. "A duel at noon. Crow'll kill him. The mountain man's mad." Clara paced outside the boarding house, unable to breathe. "Jonah, you can't win. Crow's a fast draw. He's—" Jonah sat sharpening his hunting knife, completely calm. "I'm not fighting him with pistols." Her stomach knotted. "Jonah, a duel means pistols. Not for a mountain man." He met her eyes, steady and sure. "Crow fights for pride. I fight for you." She froze. "For me?" Jonah stood. He was taller than she'd realized, broad-shouldered, radiating quiet strength. "I knew Mark," he said softly. "Knew what he wanted for you. He talked about you in the woods more than he talked about trapping or hunting. And when he died, he trusted me with the only thing he ever asked for." Clara felt tears sting her eyes. "He asked you to protect me?" Jonah nodded. "I don't break my word." Something in his gaze made her breath catch, something deep, fierce, and unspoken. "Jonah," she whispered, "why you really doing this?" He brushed a strand of hair from her face with surprising gentleness. "Because no woman should stand alone," he murmured. "And because I haven't stopped thinking about you since the day Mark first said your name." Her heart thudded painfully. Then the church bell tolled noon. The town gathered in a tense semicircle around the dusty main street. The sun burned overhead, heat shimmering. Crow arrived flanked by armed men. One held baby Eli wrapped in a blanket, red-faced and crying. Clara reached for him instinctively, but Crow held up a hand. After the duel, Jonah stepped forward alone, rifle and knife left behind. He carried nothing. Crow scoffed. "Come to die empty-handed?" Jonah lifted his hands. "Come to end this without blood if you'll hand over the child." Crow grinned. "Shoot him." The order hadn't even finished leaving his mouth when Jonah moved.